to not be simply partisan. And when Butterfield talks, for instance, about the Whig interpretation of history, what he has in mind is sort of the people who are the winners celebrate all the progress that they've made. But I think it's particularly for Christians who are historians or other kinds of scholars, I think it's good to also show humility about your own tradition and to understand that things often go wrong. Then, as far as relationship, understanding God's providence in all that, it seems to me one of the people whom I respect on the topic, Richard Lovelace, who taught at Gordon Conwell Seminary, said that doing Christian history is like looking at a football game where half the players are hidden. And so you know God is acting, but you don't know, all you see is other actors. And you don't know exactly what the interactions between God and these other actors is.
对于为何与爱德华兹结下不解之缘，乔治·马斯登说，是因为爱德华兹独特的对上帝之爱的领悟与表述吸引了他。
I was long interested in Jonathan Edwards. I grew up in a Reformed Presbyterian background and with a lot of theological emphasis. And then I discovered Jonathan Edwards largely when I was in graduate school, more than when I was in seminary, and he was very highly regarded by the more liberal Christian and even some secular historians just because of his intellectual strength and prowess. And I started reading Edwards, and I found a dynamic of his expression of Christianity as an outgrowth of the love of God as sort of the reason why there is a universe at all. That the reason we have a universe is it's called the Big Bang of the love of God radiating through reality, and then the center of reality is, do we respond to that love or beauty or not? And that for me was helpful theological dynamic that I've been reared on, a lot of doctrine, talking about the sovereignty of God and principles, but Edwards made it come alive in certain ways. And so I was very interested in that, and then the opportunity came to write this biography in honor of his 300th anniversary of his birth, and so that it just fit with my interests, and I found it totally fascinating to try to figure out how this person lived in 18th century colonial America, which was sort of the frontier and the Wild West of that time, that it was a time when there was a lot of conflict between the British and the French, and then the Indians who were being displaced, and what all those relationships were made the whole thing quite fascinating.
在爱德华兹的传记获得巨大反响之后，马斯登又将目光对准了另一位20世纪最重要的基督徒作家和文化学者路易斯。
After I was done with Edwards, I was looking around for someone to study who would be equally edifying. That I found working with Edwards every day for quite a few years, that was very helpful to me. There's a lot of integrity. And then the opportunity arose to contribute to a series Princeton Press did called The Lives of Great Religious Books. And they asked me if I wanted to do something, and it occurred to me, well, C.S. Lewis's Mere Christianity is a book that is still very much a vital book, and it would be very interesting to write about that, and it'd be well-deserved to be in that series. So I'd never worked on Lewis before, but it was a wonderful opportunity to read everything of Lewis and a lot about Lewis and be edified